Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today, and hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving leading into this weekend. But today we're going to be talking about the Canik Mete MC9. Now, full disclosure on the Canik Mete MC9 is that I have absolutely no relationship with Canik whatsoever. I've never talked to anyone from them, and I believe I paid $3.99 for this gun at my local Shields. Now, the way that I originally got this gun is because I bought a holster. This is a works holster for the Canik Mete MC9 and a TLR7, because I kind of wanted to find a holster for my Glock 26 P80 with a TLR7 sub, which is a difficult thing to do. I believe Nightfall Customs actually does make a holster for that combination, but I ordered this holster to see if they would fit, and yeah, the Glock is just too fat. So, because I already had the holster, I ended up buying a whole gun just to go with the holster, and plus it's a very nice gun in its own right as well. Now, getting into some of the basics of the Canik Mete MC9, this is basically Canik's entry into the micro compact, micro carry, 1.5 stack, whatever you want to call it, genre. Weight comes in at 21.27 ounces for a standard capacity of 12 rounds with a 15 round extended magazine, which is the one that I generally carry. Barrel is a 3.1 inch 9mm barrel, perfectly standard for the genre. Overall length of 6.1 inches, height of 4.52 with the shorter magazine, and a width of 1.12, which is not the thinnest gun on the market, but when you compare it to something like the Glock 26 that has a width of 1.25 inches, it's considerably slimmer and a little bit easier to carry, which is again what it's designed to do. Now, these are manufactured overseas. These are made in Turkey, and then they get imported by Century Arms into the US, which definitely helps to keep the cost down. These have an MSRP of about $440 and then a street price of about $400, which is a very, very reasonable price for such a fully featured handgun. Now, getting into the box that they come in, Canik probably has the best box in the industry. Comes with your mags, a holster, a loader, different base plates, different back straps, and all of the tools you could possibly need in a nice little hard case. Now, getting into the slide itself, starting out with the sight, we have a white dot front and a blacked out rear U-notch, which is a very appropriate sighting system. It works quite well. It's not like a fancy set of night sights or suppressor height sights, but you don't need them on this because the optics cut is super low. This is cut for the RMSC or the Holosun K pattern of optics, and currently I have a 407K mounted to it. And the fit on this optics cut is insanely tight. Now, to be very clear, when I say it has a tight fit, I mean it has a very tight fit. The slide also comes with forward and rear slide serrations, which give you a good amount of grip for manipulating your weapon, racking it, press checking, so on and so forth. This slide is also equipped with a physical loaded chamber indicator, which you can feel right above the barrel, and also a visual indicator in the back with a little red dot on the back of the striker to let you know that it's ready to go. Now, takedown of the Mete MC9 is very Glock-like. Simply pull back on the slide just a little bit to press your takedown lever, push the slide forward and up, and it will separate into two pieces. Now, the barrel is again a 3.2 inch 9mm barrel, nothing particularly special there. It doesn't have much, if any, of a crown on the front of the barrel, so keep that in mind if you do drop this barrel first onto a rock or something like that. You could theoretically damage the rifling and maybe suffer a loss of accuracy. Now, the only other thing of note on the upper assembly is going to be your very stiff dual stage recoil spring, very similar to a Glock Gen 4 and beyond. Now, getting into the polymer frame of the MC9, it does just about everything right for a EDC style handgun. The texture itself is the one area where I am let down a little bit. It's fairly mild and there's not much of it. I am somebody who appreciates a much more aggressive texture and a lot of it. The grip texture itself really stops about halfway up the frame, and I wish there was more of it and that it was more aggressive. One nice touch is that both the pinky extension that I have on the 12 round magazine and the 15 round magazine do come with extra stippling on them, which is a nice touch. Again, on the rest of the frame, I just wish there was more texture. Now, the rest of the grip is basically perfect. You have a very small magazine release that is well placed and easy to hit. The grip angle itself is somewhat in between a 1911 and a Glock, so it feels good. I don't have any complaints with that. And again, you have adjustable back straps to make it fill your small or large hands. Now, getting into the magazine well itself, it doesn't have any sort of flare to it whatsoever, which is kind of what you're looking for in a concealed carry style gun. However, it does have a small internal bevel for aiding in those magazine reloads, and with the very aggressive taper on the 1.5 stack mags, it does make reloads fairly easy. Now, moving on to controls, we do have a ambidextrous slide stop and slide release. I am a right-handed shooter. I don't need an ambidextrous slide stop, but it is there for you lefties, or if you find yourself in a position where you need to be hitting it with your index finger. It is there and it's not too obtrusive. One thing of note is that it is quite a bit bigger than a lot of other slide stop slide releases on the market. However, I've only accidentally hit it once, although it wasn't a non-critical situation where I had basically emptied a magazine and was just moving my hands around, and I did force the slide to go home when I didn't mean to. So just keep in mind that they're probably a little bit bigger and more obtrusive than what you're used to. Now, your takedown lever is very similar to a Glock, nothing special there. And out front, you do have a 1913 accessory rail, which is fantastic. And currently I have a TLR7 sub mounted to it, which is probably the best concealed carry style light, unless you're going with something super small or a full-size TLR1 on like a Glock 19. Now, the last thing that we need to talk about for the basics of the Mete MC9, you know what it is. It's the trigger. The trigger is fantastic. Canik has been making some of the best striker fire triggers on the market for a while now. There are some other handguns that have come out recently that also have excellent triggers. However, the Canik on the Mete MC9 is certainly no different. So you have a normal amount of take up for a striker fired handgun, probably about a ½ inch or so before you hit a very well-defined wall. You build up to about 4.5 pounds of pressure and you have a very clean break. Releasing just a little bit, maybe a ½ inch or so, and you get your reset and you're right back on that wall for another clean, crisp break. Canik does make lighter triggers in some of their competition models. However, again, keep in mind the intended use case of a EDC concealed carry style gun. 4.5 to 5 pounds is basically perfect. And the trigger dynamics, the very crisp wall, the very short forced reset, feel very good to shoot. When I'm using this handgun, even out to, say, extended ranges for a small gun, 50, 60, 70 yards, I feel very confident in hitting like a 8x12 inch steel plate at those slightly extended ranges. Now, getting into reliability and performance, reliability is incredibly simple. I have not had a single failure of any sort with either magazine with any type of ammunition that I put through it, through about 500 rounds or so. Now, 500 rounds is not that much ammo. However, this is a gun that I do actually EDC. I do carry this gun every single day. It's basically with me 24/7, and I'm probably never more than 3 feet away from it. And again, it has been 100% reliable. Now, getting into performance is great. In terms of its functional accuracy, its mechanical accuracy is probably very good as well with that good trigger. The one knock that I have against it is that it is just a little bit on the snappy side. And I'm not sure if that's how it's tuned with the recoil spring and the slide weight, or if it's just the somewhat subpar grip texture and the lack of grip on the actual frame itself, or if it's just that I'm not that big of a fan of the way that micro compacts shoot. In general, I love shooting full-size handguns, Glock 17s, 19s, 34s, even my 26, which is a very fat gun, but it does kind of shoot like a full-size gun because of how much grip surface you have. Now, yes, I can still shoot the MC9 very quickly. I can still hit targets at will. It's just a little bit more difficult, and I have to work a little bit harder than I would like to when it comes to something like a full-size handgun. And when we compare the Mete MC9 to something like the Mete SFT, its full-size counterpart, as far as polymer framed handguns go, the Mete SFT is one of the best shooting handguns around. The Mete MC9 is not that, but it also has a different use case, and for what it is, I think it's fine. Now, when it comes to value, the Mete MC9 is probably unbeatable. It has basically a perfect feature set with everything that you would want for a concealed carry gun. The ergonomics are good, the shootability is good, the accuracy is good as well, the reliability so far has been perfect, and again, everything that it comes with, a fantastic trigger. The $400 or less on the street, you can sometimes find them for $350 to $375. Again, as far as value goes, or really just in general, it's very difficult to beat. Now, there's no doubt about it, the MC9 has fantastic performance, fantastic value for that $399 price point. However, I still really like my Glock 26. The thing that sucks about it is that it is fatter, and it is of course harder to find holsters for, but other than that, when it comes to actually shooting these two, I still feel that I shoot a little better with the Glock 26, because with that thicker grip, you do get a lot more purchase, so it is actually a little bit softer shooting. It is also sprung differently, of course, as well, and with that thicker slide, you also get full size. This is a 507C, versus the smaller 407K. And to be clear, I'm not really a big fan of the Glock 26, but a big fan of the P80 Glock 26 clone with the better frame and the actual rail on there as well, which you can't get on a factory Glock. But regardless of all that, at the end of the day, the Canik MC9 probably still represents the best value for an EDC gun that can kind of flex into just about everything. And it's also one of the highest performing guns regardless of price. You can spend a lot more money to get a little bit more performance, like the SIG P365X macro that's like internally comped or has that expansion chamber on there. Maybe that shoots a little bit better, but those are like $1,000 or somewhere in that price. But again, for $399, optics cut, fantastic trigger, good ergonomics, really good capacity, size and weight's great, perfect reliability so far anyways. There is so little to complain about with the Canik MC9 that I'm just not going to. Let me know what you guys think of the Canik MC9 and or your other favorite micro carry EDC style guns in the comments down below. But once again, with all that out of the way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless.